Hello and welcome to Module 6 of your journey into Promised Land living. To start things off, I want to share another story from my childhood that I think helps us understand where we're going. When I was a little kid, I was scared of the dark, and one of our favorite things to do on Friday nights was to hang out with my cousins who were living with us at the time. They were teenagers, and my parents would go out on a date and leave the teenagers in charge of me and my brother, who were 3 and 5 at the time. And we'd watch this show called Shock Theater. Now, it was one of these grade Z horror movie shows, and I always had kind of corny things on, but when I was, as a little kid, they were very, very frightening. And the problem with me staying up to watch Shock Theater, because they'd let me stay up beyond my bedtime to do it, is they would never let me stay up long enough to see the end of the show. So I always had to go to bed thinking these monsters were roaming around the world. And on this particular night, we had watched one about zombies. So we had been seeing all these people, dead people, come to life, walking around, getting people and hurting people. And I had to go to bed, and I hadn't seen the end, so I was pretty nervous. And I remember having a hard time going to sleep, but eventually I drifted off. And sometime during the night, I rolled over, and my right arm, which had fallen asleep, kind of flopped over onto my face like this. Now, you know what it's like when your arm's asleep. It's numb, it's cold, it's clammy. Well, my brain sort of wakes up when it feels something on my face, and it sort of signals to my left hand, wakes my left hand up and says, hey, there's something on our face, go check it out. So my left hand kind of yawns and comes over and begins feeling around, and now my left hand can tell this is a hand and an arm, but because my right arm's still asleep, my brain doesn't know it's my arm. And so the left hand signaling the signals back to the brain saying, there's a cold, clammy hand on our face. And so the brain processes this information and says, there's a dead person in our bed, a zombie. And so I go, and I throw my hand up in the air like this. Now, my right arm's still asleep. And it just flops right back down on my face. And now my brain feels my hand back on my face and freaks out saying there's a dead person in our bed and he's trying to kill us. So I throw my hand off again, I jump up out of the bed and I start punching with my left hand, flailing in the air trying to kill the zombie, and then I throw a right. And the tingle begins to run up my arm and into my shoulder, and you know that feeling when your arm starts to wake up, it's kind of a burning, tingling sensation. And I remember thinking, I was so relieved to realize that it wasn't a zombie at all. It was my own perfectly good hand that I had been numb to realizing was there. You know, a lot of times in life, we're numb to some of the perfectly good things that God has given to us and done in our life. We don't appreciate them, and we don't take advantage of those things, and we miss out. Module 6 is about learning how to be appreciative of those things. What if you came home from work one day to find that Extreme Home Makeover had completely remodeled your home while you were away at work, tripled the size of it, and made it everything you dreamed of it could be? After you got over the initial excitement, what would you do? Would you spend your days really enjoying every room of the house, taking advantage of this great, good gift? Or if you're honest, would you find yourself spending most of your time living in pretty much the same 2 or 3 rooms you've been living in all along, simply because it's familiar and kind of the routine of life, something that you're comfortable with? Module 6, we want to help you realize the good things that God has done for you that maybe you're not enjoying and taking advantage of. Because when you do, it creates hope. It gives you the ability to imagine and dream about other good things that God still wants to do for you. But we need hope to allow God to do that kind of work in our life. Far too often we spend our days going through the routines of what's familiar, and we miss out on so much. So our prayer for you in Module 6 is that you'll really get a grasp of some of the things that God is doing in your life that are really good, so that you'll have a vision and a hope for a lot more.